Well, I would say that the most important, I would say the Lotus approach, because of all the details, and they went to the next step. Potentially, we did not mention low volume, high mix, or high volume, high mix will be big candidates to this type of approach. As I mentioned on my email, chemicals and food processing manufacturing definitely is not a candidate because you are producing millions of the same thing. Therefore, I would say process manufacture is not conducive to this approach. However, most of the discrete manufacturing processes, um, low volume, high mix, or even high volume, high mix, will be good candidates. So you have to actually pre-screen during the design and during the business case when you actually thinking about launching a product, and once you map the capabilities of that product in the marketplace, then you make the decision how to design it and how to build the supply base in order to achieve, the modular, configured to order type of manufacturing process. Definitely, I think the Lotus approach is on a large scale, so to speak, because a car has so many potential differences depending on the market that's going to be used. It is right steering wheel or left steering wheel, and there are so many different emissions and regulations. That is a prime candidate for this type of approach, as well as some consumer electronics that has some fashion built in, colors or choices, so to speak. So I think it's extremely important that during the business case on the product introduction phase, that all of those different aspects have to be taken into account before you make a decision how you're going to design and how you're going to approach the manufacturing of the product. I would say is what is the process, mainly from a Lotus standpoint, what was the process in which they trained and they made sure that the supply base was in tune or aligned with their processes in their own manufacturing, and how they made sure that that process was repeatable in time so that it was a smooth transition or a smooth connection, handoff between, let's say, the first layer of suppliers to their direct suppliers to their own lines. How did they ensure that that whole supply chain was oiled, so to speak, and smooth, flowing according to the plan? So did they build inventories? Did they build safety stocks? Did they build, or they didn't, and they actually have everybody working to the same tune? So that will be an interesting way to learn how they did it. Yeah, I think the important point is that people with that type of a vision and how we're going to promote the next step and keep pushing the envelope is what is important. So you could be actually serving as a catalyst of those ideas and actually keep pushing the envelope for, how we more and more produce what I would call mass customization approach versus mass economics approach. Instead of economies of scale, it's actually mass customization. And this is a dichotomy, so to speak, in how you handle it profitably. So it is a good challenge. The whole point is when Ford initiated the production approach, saying you can have any car as long as it's a Type A, it's a 4T black. Now the consumer is saying, well, I want choice, I want my own color, I want my own interior, I want my own design. So how you bridge the gap between economies of scale, what I call economies of scope, in which you combine, the economies of processes that can be aggregated in a way that economically feasible with a potential mass customization, giving the consumer and the channel a choice on the finishing touches, so to speak, that will give that personalization to the consumer. Nobody wants to use the same thing. Everybody wants everything personalized one-to-one. So that dichotomy, and how can we push the envelope to allow those economically? I think this is the big question.
Logipi.